You don't have a money problem. You have a math problem. Let me start with something uncomfortable but very real. If you make more money today than you did a few years ago, why does it still feel like you're barely getting ahead? Maybe your income went up, you changed jobs, got a raise, started earning what you once thought was good money, and yet somehow the stress is still there. The pressure didn't go away. The months still feels tight. The savings still don't look the way you imagined they would. That feeling isn't random, and it's not because you're bad with money. The problem is that most people are solving the wrong equation. My name is Poul, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, behavior, and why smart, hardworking people stay financially stuck. If you're someone who works, earns, pays bills, and still feels like you're running in place, this video is for you. Here's the core idea I want you to sit with. Earning more money does not automatically improve your financial situation. In fact, for many people, earning more actually makes things worse. That sounds backwards, so let's talk about the math. The illusion of linear progress. Most people believe that financial progress is linear. You earn more, life gets easier. You earn even more, life gets even easier. But real life doesn't work that way. Income usually grows in small, steady steps. Expenses don't. Expenses jump. They lock in, they compound. When your income increases, you don't just spend a little more once. You upgrade your entire baseline. A slightly better apartment becomes a long-term lease. A nicer car becomes a monthly payment plus insurance plus maintenance. More convenience becomes subscriptions, delivery, upgrades you now consider normal. And once those costs are locked in, they don't go away when life gets harder. This is the math most people never write down. Let's use a simple example. Someone makes $4,000 a month. It's tight, but manageable. Then they get a raise and start making $6,000. On paper, that's an extra $2,000 every month. That should change everything. But instead, the rent goes up, the car payment appears, eating out becomes frequent. The lifestyle quietly adjusts to the new number. A year later, that person is making more money than ever and somehow feels just as stressed as before. Not because they're irresponsible, but because they permanently committed their future income to present comfort. The psychology behind the trap. This is where psychology enters the equation. When your income increases, your brain quickly resets what normal feels like. What used to feel like a luxury now feels like the minimum. The problem is that your brain adapts faster than your bank account. You don't consciously decide to sabotage yourself. You simply normalize higher spending. And once something feels normal, giving it up feels like deprivation, even if you were perfectly fine without it before. Think about it. 5 years ago, you probably lived without several things you now consider essential. That specific streaming service, that daily coffee, that ride-sharing app you use without thinking twice. Back then, you didn't miss them because they weren't part of your reality. But now cutting any of these things feels like a real sacrifice. Your brain has registered these expenses as part of your identity, your standard of living, what you deserve. This is why telling people to just spend less rarely works. The issue isn't discipline, it's structure. It's the fact that your financial system is designed to consume whatever flows into it. The confusion between income and progress. Here's the critical mistake most people make. They confuse income with progress. Progress is not how much you earn. Progress is how far you are from zero. Zero is the point where one missed paycheck becomes a crisis. Zero is where a small emergency turns into debt. Zero is living with no margin. If your income doubles but your distance from zero stays the same, you didn't actually move forward. You just increased the size of the treadmill. Here's a simple but brutal test. If you stopped working today, how long could you live exactly the same way you do now? 1 month? 2? Maybe 3? Now imagine someone who earns less than you but could live for a year without changing anything. Who is actually more financially secure? That's the question nobody wants to ask, but it reveals everything about your true financial situation. Why high earners still live stressed. This is why you see people with high salaries who are constantly stressed, anxious, and trapped. It's not because they don't earn enough. It's because their financial math leaves no room for error. The system rewards visible progress, not real stability. Bigger homes, nicer cars, better-looking lifestyles. No one applauds savings. No one sees your margin. No one celebrates restraint. So most people build a life that looks successful but feels fragile. Think about the last 3 raises or bonuses you received. Now ask yourself this question: where is that money today? If you can't point to an investment account, a larger emergency fund, growing assets, then you already know the answer. It got absorbed. It turned into a new normal that you now have to maintain. The golden rule few people follow. Here's the rule that quietly separates people who build wealth from people who only look like they're doing well. Never let your cost of living rise at the same speed as your income. That sounds obvious. But emotionally, it's hard, because raises feel like permission. Permission to upgrade, permission to relax, permission to finally enjoy. But every permanent upgrade you make is a promise your future self has to keep. And here's what nobody tells you. Every time you increase your standard of living, you're essentially betting that your income will never drop, that you'll never lose your job, that nothing unexpected will happen. You're betting on perfection, and life is rarely perfect. The smartest use of extra income. The smartest use of extra income isn't comfort, it's leverage. A simple framework looks like this. When your income increases, at least half of that increase should go directly to your future: savings, investments, margin. Some of it can improve your present life, and a portion should disappear entirely, meaning you act as if it never existed. Most people reverse this. They give almost everything to their current lifestyle and hope the future somehow works itself out, and then they wonder why they never feel safe. Let me give you a concrete example. Say you get a $1,000 monthly raise. Most people immediately think, great, now I can afford rent that's $800 more, or now I can finance that car I wanted. But what if you did it differently? What if $500 went straight to automatic investments, $300 to your emergency fund, and only $200 was used to improve your life today? In 1 year, you'd have $6,000 invested, $3,600 in additional reserves, and you'd still have improved your day-to-day life. That's the difference between building wealth and just looking wealthy. What your brain really values. Here's something most people don't realize. Your brain doesn't measure wealth in dollars. It measures wealth in control. Control over your time, control over your choices, control over what happens if something goes wrong. That sense of control only comes from margin, from knowing you can absorb a hit, from knowing you don't need everything to go perfectly just to survive. This is why even high earners often feel poor. Their lifestyle requires perfection. One mistake, one layoff, one unexpected expense, and everything starts to crack. I know people who make $20,000 a month and live with more anxiety than people who make $5,000. Why? Because the ones making $20,000 have expenses of $19,000. The ones making $5,000 have expenses of $3,500. Who really sleeps better at night? Real financial peace. Real financial peace doesn't come from having more. It comes from needing less relative to what you have. Being financially okay isn't about luxury. It's about resilience. It's the quiet confidence that says, if something goes wrong, I'll be fine. This doesn't mean living miserably. It means being strategic about where you draw your line of enough. It means questioning every permanent upgrade before committing to it. It means asking, will this really make my life significantly better, or is it just the next thing on the endless list of wants? Most people never ask these questions. They just assume that more is always better. That the next level of comfort is what will finally bring satisfaction. But it doesn't, because the line of enough always moves. The action plan. So what do you actually do with this? First, stop automatically upgrading your life every time your income increases. Freeze your lifestyle for a while. Let the gap between what you earn and what you need widen. Live like you still make what you made 2 years ago, even if you earn more now. Second, focus obsessively on increasing your distance from zero. Build a real buffer, not a symbolic one. something that actually changes how you feel. 6 months of expenses saved isn't paranoia, it's freedom. It's the difference between making decisions out of fear and making decisions out of choice. Third, automate the future. Invest and save before the money ever touches your spending account. Don't rely on willpower. Set up automatic transfers on payday. Make the default choice building wealth, not spending. Fourth, treat raises and bonuses as opportunities to buy freedom, not stuff. Every dollar that goes to investments is a dollar that will one day work for you. Every dollar that goes to a lifestyle upgrade is a dollar you have to keep earning forever. Ask yourself, is this expense buying me freedom or tying me down tighter? And fifth, measure your progress by how secure you feel, not by how successful you look. The goal isn't to impress anyone. The goal is to sleep well at night. It's being able to make career decisions based on what you want to do, not what you need to do. It's being able to say no when something isn't right. The transformation that happens when you fix the math, something interesting happens. Money becomes less emotional. Decisions get calmer. You stop reacting and start choosing. The pressure eases, not because you're rich, but because you're stable. You stop comparing your progress to others because you understand that appearance isn't reality. That friend with the new car, they might be drowning in payments. That colleague who's always traveling, they might have nothing saved. You start measuring wealth the right way, not by what you spend, but by how long you could live without working. And when you finally get there, when you have that real margin, that distance from zero, something shifts in how you experience life. You're not just surviving anymore, you're choosing. The truth nobody told you, so remember this. You don't have a money problem. You have a math problem that no one ever explained to you. Most people never learned that income isn't wealth, that lifestyle isn't progress, that looking successful is completely different from being financially secure. Fix the math and the money starts to make sense. Stop letting every raise disappear into your cost of living. Stop believing that the next income level is what will finally make you feel secure. Security doesn't come from earning more. It comes from needing less. Build the margin first. Build the buffer. Build the distance from zero. And then, when you do upgrade your life, do it from a position of strength, not from a position of, I can finally afford this. Because when you have the margin, the upgrade is a choice. Without it, it's a trap. If this resonated with you, subscribe to the Poul channel and let me know in the comments what part of your financial math you're starting to rethink. Because this conversation doesn't end here. It's just the beginning of understanding how money really works, and more importantly, how to make it work for you instead of you working eternally for it.